special races. Here we go, 10,000, section number 1. And in this race, we'll run down through the names. And it's going to be a special one. Bernard Lagat out there, man. Masters world record could go down.
Oh, yeah.
So Sam Chalanga, hip number 1, 27:08 is PR in 2010, the big 2010 race here. He broke the collegiate record and finished second. William Malel from Kenya is in here. Collis Birmingham from Australia. Yuto Satara from Japan. Suguru Osako from Japan and part of the Nike Oregon project. Bernard Lagat running for Nike and his debut 10K as a master, or as an athlete in general, but while he's now a master. Sean Quigley, Boulder Track Club. Jason Witt, Hanson Brooks team, and also a graduate of BYU. Moga Solomon from Paso Sports. We got Luis Fernando Ostos Cruz out of Peru. George Alex at Fitness. Scott Smith of Hoka NAZ Elite. Eric Fernandez of Hoka NAZ Elite. Ben Bruce of Hoka NAZ Elite. Ryan Donor of Hoka's NAZ Elite. You got Martin Hare running unattached, but ran for Syracuse this fall on their great cross-country team, national champs. Colin Benny of Syracuse also on that team. Pierce Murphy on the Colorado team that lost to them by 10 points. Aaron Rono unattached. For USA, Tim Ritchie of Saucony, Brian Schrader of Saucony, Luke Caldwell, Melbourne Track Club, Great Britain, graduate of New Mexico, Maverick Darling of Saucony, graduate of Wisconsin, Futsam Zenesalasi of Northern Arizona, Ross Millington out there for Global Sports from the UK and a graduate of New Mexico, Abraham Gebrigazambe of Eritrea and running with the Paso Sports Group, Luke Burchett, ASICS Canada, and Andy Vernon.
Pacer, big Andy Vernon, pacing out in front. You can't miss him right there, leading the way.
Yeah, ran 27:42 here last year, and I think he might have won that last year.
He might have. I mean, you know, that would give him the mark for the Olympic Games, because the Olympic Games mark started early last year, especially for the 10Ks. So no need to come and run another 10K if you already have it, especially from previous seasons.
So time standards on the board there. Olympic game standards, 28 minutes. You got to know they're going for that one tonight. And 28:15 will get you to the trials. So
now, you know, seeing Kip run, Bernard Lagat, nicknamed Kip, I mean, it's not just for a Masters world record he's trying to get after. I mean, he's sussing this thing out of how do I make one last Olympic team. You know, and is it going to be in this 10K? You know, the 10K is a very long, arduous, difficult event, and this is doubling his race distance. I mean, yes, world champion, you know, American record holder, you know, fine career, and he's essentially the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of American distance running. Still good, still vital, still a threat at age, you know, over 40.
Yeah, age 41.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a special talent. I mean, 7:41 he ran indoors this year in the 3K, getting down after it as a 41-year-old, and you know, was well back in that race at the U.S. Indoor Championships, and all of a sudden I think he finished I want to say fourth.
Yeah.
So just outside of what top 2 went to the Worlds, so not too far off, only about a second or two outside of that second place. So.
You know, his career is a very, very fine piece of work. I mean, you look at athletes younger than him, you know, who might have done some exciting flashes of brilliance, but retired early. We've had a sea of retirements this year, an Olympic year, you know, with losing Matt Tegenkamp and Chris Zielinski, you know, but retiring in their early 30s, and Kip's still going strong in his early 40s.
Yeah. You know, and Kip last year ran 3:54 indoors in the mile. So if you're talking about a 10K guy who's a year removed from 3:54, you know, he's still got some tools to work with.
Very dangerous, like you know, like Hall was in the 10K in her debut. I mean, she shows she has wheels. She shows she can move. She shows she could play it very cool, level head. Sometimes with those milers types, they get too excited too soon in the 10, and they like, oh, I feel good, I feel great, this is so easy, and then all of a sudden they hit a brick wall. But she looked good, and we hope to see the same from Bernard Lagat tonight.
Yep.
67-1 on that split, 4:28 through 1600, so 27:56 pace.
So 27, so just right at that 28-minute pace. They're trying to do it the nice, even way. Yep. And, you know, looking at Lagat's profile, no 10Ks on the track. We know we see one 10K down in Manchester last year, 27:48. He was third in that race. And he's running a half marathon, 62:33 at New York back in 2013. So a light dabble in some of the longer distances, just to get a taste.
And a little hard tempo, but there you see Chalenga and Lagat there.
Chalenga's very good at the 10K, but look at how much more relaxed Bernard Lagat's stride is than these guys around him.
You have to appreciate, for as fast as he's run for so long, this to him is very, very, very slow.
Oh my gosh!
This is more like has a championship race type feel. We're just out here jogging at a tempo type rhythm. You have to assume if he and his coach James Lee think he's ready to go, he's ready to go.
5:35 through 2K, and that last lap.
66.7.
66.7. So while I watch him and I'm talking about how it looks, how easy it is, I'm thinking of those Olympic finals back with Hisham El Garouj and how fast those guys are running. This literally looks like a moderate tempo. But when you kind of in your mind compare, his 326 efforts or 330 efforts, back when he was running those kind of races, unbelievable. But
as we saw, just because you're leading early doesn't guarantee you, the ease and fluidity you have later in the race. Like with Dariba in the women's 10K, she was up there pushing that pace and then faded very, very abruptly all of a sudden. So, it's new territory, it's uncharted territory. You don't really time trial a 10K on the track before you come race it, as you might do like an 800, a 600, or even a mile sometimes in practice.
I don't know what you do, but that's the way I like to do it.
Okay, well, there you are. Free coaching advice from Ryan Fenton.
The leader, the world leader in this event is Paul Tanui. Just a week ago ran 27:22 in Kobe, and there were, looks like 6 of the top 7 times in the world were all running that race, 27:22 to 27:50. So number 10 in the world right now, 27:55. We definitely have the ability to see some guys crack the top 10, depending on how this race goes. And Vernon, I wonder if he's running this thing, because he's not leading. He's actually behind guys we know are racing, and he's sticking in there. So we'll see.
And your top collegiate right now is Footsum out of NAU, back there in the middle of your screen coming through. Looking very smooth, very strong. Behind him is former teammate Brian Schrader, now running for Saucony in the early getting. So a lot of people coming down from Flagstaff, including the Hoka Northern Arizona Elite crew with Smith, Fernandez, Bruce, and Donner.
Yeah, so 28:35 is Footsum's time. He ran that in a 10K here last year at the Stanford Invite, finished 8th in that race, went on to the NCAA Championships where he finished 12th. So he's been running, he's always run well in cross as they come through. 18 laps to go, last lap in 67. But this year really in the past year he's starting to translate over the track. Outdoors already this year has PR'd in a big way, 7-second PR at the Brian Clay Invitational. He won that 13:37, so he's coming off of really one of the best 5Ks he's ever, is the best 5K he ever ran, and he won that race.
Right, and you have to think the sour taste and disappointment last year at 12th at the NCAAs might have fueled his fire for training and his racing this spring, saying, hey, look, I know I'm better than that. I really want to get after it. And that's sometimes the, silver lining of a disappointing result at championship meet is it fuels the athlete to have a better season, a more productive season, a more competitive season the next year.
Yeah.
8:23 through 3 kilometers.
8:23 through 3K. And that came after, a third-place finish at the NCAA Championship. So you knew he had big goals. But this year indoors, he finished 4th in the 5K, 8:57 there at 17 laps to go. So that's 3,200 meters, under 9 minutes. So anyway, on track now, his best NCAA track finish. And we're still looking at, up front, our leader, hip number 2. That's Mr. William Millell. And behind him, Andy Vernon, 2 spots behind him. Sam Chalenga, another 2 spots. Mr. Bernard Lagat, just relaxed out there.
You're in cruise control right now if you're Kip, man. There's a long way to go, still a lot of minutes on the track. And, the real racing doesn't begin, as we saw with the women, until about 1K out.
Yeah. Kip, so I'd like to ask him how his training's changed because – he was always a lower mileage guy, even when he was running 5Ks. Right. He always made it sound like he was in the 60s. I wonder if that stayed the same for him.
I mean, but they regularly, he and his coach regularly did in heavy phases, 13-mile long runs, averaging at around 5 flat mile pace. So what most people want to run a half marathon in, he's just doing that as a training run, as a tempo effort, whether it's up at sea level or down at sea level, or maybe slightly altered at Flagstaff when he goes to elevation. So this is not unheard of for someone with him. He's a very lower quantity but higher quality. He's very judicious with his rests, takes rest days as needed, takes long periods off in between seasons, really lets his body reset, and I think that's part and parcel why you've seen such a long storied career from this guy.
So through their last lap.
Last lap was 67. They'll coming up on 4 kilometers once they hit the end of the home stretch. Malel starting to get a little bit of separation here, about 8 meters back to the pack.
Well, and you saw him look behind, and the reason he did is because 67s is right at the Olympic Games standard of 28 minutes, and so he's wondering, why is no one coming with me?
Yeah,
this is where we all want to be, guys.
Exactly, yeah. And you want to make sure you're a little bit under or right at pace coming through 5K, because it's very, very difficult to get a whole lot faster that second 5K unless you're just simply out for a walk in the park, which the Olympic Games standard in any event is not.
Yep. And we saw that a month ago here. German Fernandez, a guy who he ran the trial standard, but it was difficult to get that sub 28. And I think, did we get one, or were we right at 28?
We had the winners got it. I mean, Scott Fauble was at 28.00.43. Just missing it by the.
That's what. Yes.
And I think he closed in like 60:59 flat.
Yeah.
So, even if you're hauling that last lap, you can make up a lot of ground and a lot of time in a 10K if you have a fast last quarter, but it's still difficult if you don't put yourself in a position to do it early on.
So most guys still connected to this string. Ross Millington looked to be the one who's fallen off here, but up front, Malel still leading, and I'm sure he would like some company. And there we go, Sam Chalanga starting to move up and close that gap.
I think he senses that it's just getting a little bit too pedestrian back there, and he's asking himself, why are they slowing up and stringing out? We aren't even halfway in this race.
About a second and a half difference, 67.3 for Malel, 67.6 on that lap for the pack.
Okay, and Chalanga, look at him make that move and close the gap. I wonder, Bernard Lagat, who trains with Chalanga, I wonder if he's going to start going around. It looks like Vernon's obviously not closing the distance like Chalanga is, but they're definitely picking up that pace. And Chalanga now contact with Malel, and Malel's got to like that.
Yeah, and you start to see the entire pack string out significantly. If you're in the back there with the Northern Arizona Elite crew, this is where you need to make a big move and not get caught flat-footed, because this can be a make or break point when you start to surge like this at this pace so early on in this 10,000-meter run. But you see Sammy Chalanga just up there making contact. Now he's just settled back into the rhythm, and Seguro also coming up just to settle back in. You don't want any gaps this early. It's too early for any gaps to form. If you have a gap that's forming right now, you really have to reassess, what you're doing and how much energy you're expending, because you need to conserve energy and be efficient so you can bring it home that last mile.
So just through another. We'll get the read on that.
66.4 for Malel, 66.8 for Vernon.
Okay, so that means that was probably about a 65 for Chalanga to close that gap, and now the Nike Oregon Project athlete has closed the gap with them.
And sometimes that wakes you up. Sometimes it's easy to get lulled to sleep in a 10, especially an effort like this where it's very even paced. Everyone's playing by certain rules of engagement early on. Hey, guys, we're not racing. We're out here just to hit a mark and put ourselves in a position to do that. But a little surge and a little kick up can kind of wake you up and get those competitive juices going.
And just to put it in perspective, times, we're talking about getting under 28 minutes for the men. 27:45 used to be the standard. So things that, they've done away with A's and B's, and now it's just one standard. But anyway, that old standard created some pretty fast races, as we know.
Yes.
And if you're looking at top 10 all-time list in the U.S., 27:28 is that 10th time by Matt Teagenkamp, as they just went through. And they're half a lap,
a little bit over 5K. A little bit over 5K. Yep.
67.2 for Malel, and then 66.8 for Vernon on that lap.
So closing a little bit. And did you 5K, Brad? Did you?
They were 13:58.
So they're right under that standard there, 13:58 halfway through. Now this is where the real racing begins. You see, Vernon and Kip and that second group starting to try to close some ground, because now you need to be up there. You need to have the energy. You need to get going, because if you don't, and Vernon finally is pacing to, he's done. He steps off the track. You start to see that second group catch back up, because, hey guys, we got to go and we got to make sure we take care of business. And business here today at Payton Jordan is getting the Olympic Games A standard.
There's Andy Vernon, did his job and led that chase group through, and now they're closing the gap, getting back up with the leaders. And so all of a sudden, it's about 10 guys, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yeah, all strung together. Another 2 dropped off now, and still Malel, Chalanga 1, 2. And
the
now
only
that's
collegian,
Aaron Rono that's closing the gap with Lagat right behind him.
And Footsum, your only collegian in that front pack right now.
Yep. And 15:48, just crossed the line with 11 to go, and that was, man, I missed. I'm not sure if that was Martin Hare or possibly one of our athletes from. It looked like, yeah, might be one of our athletes from Zap Fitness. We'll get a read on that when they come back around.
Footsum's looking very, very good right there, just kind of hanging out in the back of that front pack. I mean, he's engaged. He's in the race. Should any surges happen or any separation, he's in a good position. You're looking at what potentially might be your NCAA champion in the 10K. This June, should he be able to keep pace and form here and put the pieces together from training, coming down from Flagstaff, 7,000 feet, training up there in the mountains of Arizona, very conducive for very good distance running preparation.
And even more importantly, let's give a shout out to 7th place right now, beard of the race,
yes,
Collis Birmingham.
Yes,
as they
fear the beard.
16:47, 10 to go.
Still 27:58 pace.
So that was another 60, 67?
68 flat.
68 flat, okay. So Malel now picking it up a little bit. Can sense it was just a tad slower than he'd like.
Yep. And all of those guys there in that front group are just hanging out. If they can keep that rhythm and then kick home with 400 to go, they'll all be well under their standard. But this is the critical phase in the race. You do not want that gap to happen. You kind of see gaps start to happen here in our chase group and falling off, some athletes in the back there. It's very tough to rally because you're still very far out from the finish line.
Jason Witt is the guy behind Footsum Senesalasi. Off the picture right now. He's right there, and there he is.
There he is in the black.
He's run 27:54 at this meet a year ago, and he wants to be with that group. So we'll see if he can chip away and try and get back with them to get back on that pace, that sub 28-minute pace.
Even if he can match the rhythm and match their speed and not let the gap get greater, he's going to be in a good position, because some people will start to blow up a little bit here in about the next mile or so, and so he can pick some people off as they fade to him. But he needs to keep that gap where it is, if not shut it down.
Yep, and leading that bigger chase group is George Alex from Zap Fitness, hit number 11, and they're about to catch one of the Japanese athletes. Looks like one of the Syracuse athletes are right with him.
I believe that would be our second collegian that's in this.
Yep, Colin Benny.
And we only have 3 collegians in this 10K here, so very stout pace for these NCAA athletes. But Footsum's holding his own, just looking really good, on the back of that front pack.
Yep, and Benny, big breakthrough indoors, ran 13:38 and finished 8th at the NCAA championships back in the fall.
Footsum right there, yeah. I mean, look at Footsum, just smooth, controlled. He's really running within himself, much like Kip. You see there in the middle of your screen, in the middle of that pack. And even Sam Chalanga looks pretty relaxed. Look at that jaw just bounce up and down on Chalanga. These guys really aren't training to run this, and that's kind of scary, for what this race is going to look like here in the last stages.
So 19:03 with 3,200 meters to go.
67 last lap.
So that means they have to run 8:56, so 4:28. To get under that mark. And you said, what was that on that one?
67.
67. Okay, so that's again continuing just rolling at this pace. So I'm gonna say, and we could possibly see, depending on when moves are made, we could possibly see a crack at 27:50 here.
We could, yeah.
So here's Jason Witt. We got a shot of. We mentioned who's trying to fight back to get up with that group, but now that gap has opened up. Just in that tough spot, really about 50 meters, or probably 40 meters behind the leaders and about 70 meters in front of the chase group. It's a lonely journey here with less than 2 miles to go.
If he can hold together, you see, Footsum's moving up. You see a little bit of separation happening in that front pack. People are going to start slowly dropping a little bit, and if Witt can maintain it, he can, be the beneficiary to pick up people as they come off that front pack and, get past them as they're chewing on a pace that was too hot for them to handle.
2010, so another 67 on that one, as Malel now putting another gap in between, and it looks like once again
Seguro going up here into second,
and guess who's following?
The ageless wonder Bernard Lagat, looking smooth as silk.
And Lagat knows as the later stages of any race come, he's got to be in position.
And you
so
see this,
that's what he's doing.
Yeah, take notes, young men and women, young 1,500-meter 10K runners, any distance really. This is where you want to be, right here, not with a whole lot around you, not boxed in. And Footsum is finding a little bit of a gap that he's trying to make up. He's passed a couple guys. He was back in the back of that pack, and here he comes, seeing if he has it, trying to reconnect with Rono, because Footsum knows as well, you got to be up there when the bell sounds to give yourself a shot.
That's actually Rono in the left of the screen. He's off the pace now. 21:17, another 67 on that one with 6 laps to go. That's a mile and a half left in this race. So they're at just over 4.5 miles into this thing, and Lagat in second now, the highest he's been in this race, just behind Malel. And I would be very, very surprised to see him take the lead before trying to win this thing.
I don't think you see him take the lead until 300 to go. I mean, he's come all this way.
I might even say 150. I don't even know. Maybe 100.
Yeah, I think it's follow the leader. Whenever you have a new race distance for an athlete, you want to just, follow the leader for as much as possible. Footsum's done a great job here, reconnecting. I mean, he's been in behind everybody, and as those people on the back of that front pack have dropped out, he's calmly, cooled, and collective, gone around and re-engaged and reconnected. He looks very, very poised to do something special
and
here.
These guys are so dialed into 67s that it's got to be a little disheartening because Collis Birmingham sees the standard pace.
Right.
And I should, before I say that, I should make sure Collis Birmingham doesn't have it yet. But there you go, 22, 25.
67.4.
So 67 once again.
Right on. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Now you're starting to see, again, 22 minutes in, the contenders from the pretenders. Not too long ago, about 10 minutes ago, that was a big, long line, a big, nice pack. And look at that. You have athletes who are almost 200 meters back who are on the back end of that long line, but 10 minutes go. That's what makes the 10K such a brutal race, especially at these paces.
So Birmingham has not run on the track on the 10,000 since 2013. So he ran earlier this season, 13:43 in March. Last year didn't run a 10, but he did run 13:17 in the 5K as we just passed another lap. Now 5 to go. So 2K left. We're through 8K at
8K was 22:25. We're coming up on 4 to go.
Okay.
And we're coming a mile left, and Malel still in the
here
lead.
They are.
He's been running nice and smooth.
Look at this.
Look at Lagat licking his lips. He's in familiar territory. 4 laps to go. He knows what to do with 4 laps left.
67.6 on that
23:23 with 4 to go. So 23:23.
23:32.
So 23:32. So a 4:20, which is within I think within their range. That's a 4:53. Or sorry, 27:53.
Yep.
And just so we know, we're a mile left. This is Lagat territory.
Yes. This is home. He knows what to do.
He knows what a mile's all about.
Yes, he had to travel 5 miles to get here, but you know what? He still looks very, very good. The fact he's like, I'm up here, I'm up in the front, I'm engaged, I feel good. Any move or separation that's happened behind him, he's easy and calmly gone around. His intention is set. I think you're going to see a good last lap from him. I think we're going to see a faster than 4:20 last mile because you can make up, again, a lot of ground in the 10K with a strong last lap. And here you see, Ben Bruce from Arizona Elite coming through your screen here, and a bunch of athletes, the Syracuse Collegian coming through, still on your screen.
Here we come, 3 to go out on the leaders, and they're coming through at 24:41.
68-1.
Oh, man, slowed it up a little bit.
I think, again, guys are starting to sense there's a race developing,
Yep.
you know, and the competitive instinct comes in. People are.
Malel's like, someone needs it. I've been doing
all
Come
this
on.
since.
Come on.
I mean,
Hey, he's looking
Yep.
around.
Yep. I mean, Andy Vernon was the pacer. Malel said that was too slow and went around. And Malel's been, you know, out in front for a very long time.
Here we go. Look
and
at he steps
Kip.
wide.
Kip, you know, Malel saying, hey, Kip, come up here and share a little bit of the lead. You know, Lagat saying, yes, it's fine. It's easy. I'll take a little bit of this now.
Oh, Lagat doesn't want to. You know, I mean, and not saying he doesn't want to because he can. He's just so used to racing to win, and this is not a time he'd normally take the lead. You see him looking over his shoulder. He's slowing up a little bit.
But we have less than 1K remaining.
And the guys have to be careful because with 800 meters to go, if this pace slows to a 70, let's say 69, and they start missing that 28-minute pace, Lagat's a guy that can run 800 meters.
Right.
Some of these guys, you know, you're cutting it a little closer. So if
really
Lagat doesn't want to
hustle.
lead, you want to keep this thing honest for
Lagat's
yourself.
looking around saying, hey, who wants to go with? Are we right on?
25-48.
67-4.
Okay, so they dropped it down a little bit, so Lagat's keeping that pace where it needs to be. Footsum, man, I'm excited to see
Footsum
what
looks
Footsum
good.
does here.
I'm telling you, Footsum's just kind of quietly been stalking every pack he's been. Never any, you know, better than right off the heels of the pack. And you start to see now they open stride a little bit. Now little separations happening.
Here it comes, yeah.
Oh, and we have a new leader attempting to emerge here on the back straightaway.
And Footsum trying to hang with these guys. The national leader and NCAA coming into this weekend.
And Seguro takes a big punch at it with 600 to go.
So national leader NCAA, Sean Thompson of Duke, 28-47. Obviously had a couple races tonight, so things will shake out a little differently. But Footsum putting his name, trying to stamp it at the top of that list. But here we go.
Seguro, first time at the lead all night long, and you have Kip just right on his shoulder. You know,
So
Seguro
smooth.
knows he needs to run from 600 out to give himself a shot to win this race. But Bernard Lagat says, hey, if you can go, I will go right with you.
Here we go, looking good. Ostos Cruz is in fourth behind Sam Chalenga. That's 26.51. That was 63.2 on the last lap. So they're going to run. I mean, they might break. You know, they're going to be close to 27.50 here. Lagat looking really smooth. And look at how comfortable 60-second pace looks for him. Seguro doing a great job up front, but definitely pumping a lot harder than Lagat is right now.
And there's a lot of more memory there at 60 seconds.
Look at
faster
Footsum
pace.
Selassie. He's about to pass Chalenga. He's now in fourth. Look at it go. 200 to go. Boom.
Footsum might get second.
If Lagat runs a 27, he'll be under 27.50, and Seguro sitting right
and
with him.
here comes Footsum moving from fourth into
Wow.
third.
Footsum's closing on the leaders.
Footsum might close on Seguro.
We'll have to see Footsum coming in. There's Lagat
Seguro's
now.
going toe-to-toe, though, with Lagat. And here comes Footsum looking back.
Here we go. Seguro
And the
looking good,
aces
but that's the
wondered.
speed right there. Bernard Lagat showing the last 50 meters. This win is for him in his debut. 27.49, about a 57,
And
56.
Footsum comes in third.
Footsum under 28 minutes. A great one for him. Chalenga's going to be fifth. Malel in about sixth, who did most of that work. So good for him. And then Solomon behind him, hip number 9. And, man, here comes Jason Witt still in that no man's land where you hate to be. Ben Bruce behind him and Aaron Rono. So here they come. Witt in your screen now.
Yes.
And
a
man,
respectable run for Witt. You know, he stayed patient and gobbled up a lot of ground. And, you know, Ben coming in, looking good, and Rono, you know, towards the end here. But how about Bernard Lagat?
here comes George Alex. So there's your start list, and we'll get the results up there in just a moment. But, man, some pretty good stuff out there for Lagat. Looking smooth. Collis Birmingham just crossed the line after being up there. Battle here on your screen coming through. That was Schrader passing a couple guys at the end. Pierce Murphy just finished up. And there was Benny. So Lagat waving to the crowd. We'll see if we can get it on his screen here.
Lagat on your screen giving a salute to the crowd. He's been here many times, you know, very appreciative of what they saw and how composed he handled that effort.
Just really, really.
Here he is,
Really
your
good
new
guy, man.
World Masters 10K record.
Oh, man, we didn't even talk. We talked about it early, but there's Lagat 27:49. And time should be coming up on the board here. As Lagat loves the crowd. Look at how happy he is. Always a happy guy.
Yes.
Not even breathing hard.